You've gotten your first mic. You want to know what to do with it. Do you need to get an XLR interface, or should you just stick with a USB mic? This video should help with that. Let's get into it. There are two kinds of microphones you can get for streaming, gaming, and, well, YouTube videos. There are USB mics, and there are XLR microphones. Now, to show off the difference between these, I got these two. By the way, there are also two different kinds of mics in of themselves. By the way of them being, the Elgato Wave is a condenser microphone, which just picks up everything. It's great if you're in a studio. If you don't have a whole lot of control on your audio though, and the sound and room around you, it's not the best. It picks up a lot of things around it. And it's also dynamic mics. Dynamic mics only pick up what's right in front of it and won't pick up too much around it. We're gonna see which one is better, Elgato Wave or the Rode Pod Mic. So before we get in this more, let's just talk really quickly. The Rode Pod Mic, which is my dynamic mic of choice for this one, is $99, which is a pretty budget XLR interface mic. It's dynamic, it has a pop filter, and other than that, I don't know a whole lot about it other than it's, for how cheap it is, it sounds amazing. You'll hear more in a little bit here. We're going to get through the specs a little bit more for the next microphone, the Wavelink. This is, quite honestly, the best USB microphone you can get, hands down. Not only is the Wavelink sound beautiful as a microphone, it's plug and play, you don't need the software, but you should get the software. As I've already shown this week and in videos prior, the Wavelink software is extremely easy to use and gives great control to the user of what audio they can use. And now with the introduction of VSTs into that software, there's not really a whole lot of USB mics that can beat this, and which is hilarious because the Wave 1 is $99 and the Wave 3 is $120. I'll leave links down below to these things if you guys want to look at them. It makes it kind of hard to justify getting a more expensive mic now. The newer mics are just sound much better. Going more in depth on this a little bit, there is a capacitive button here to switch between 3 channels for your mic, your sound, and an audio mix. There's also a mute button on top, and the button is also a dial, so you can spin it to lessen or amplify what sound you're trying to control at that time. And then there's the Wavelink software. Now, to make this test a little more simple, we're not going to use any EQing. Keep in mind, though, you can EQ both of these, and with some EQ, they will sound beautiful, better than almost any other mic you can get without having to dole out $200 to $400. You start hitting a little bit of a slope here, because to get the same amount of quality change for your dollar, you need to go from, say, $100 to almost twice to 3 times as much. And after that, it goes almost $1,000. VSTs will significantly help this. So let's get right on into this testing, and you guys are going to be in for a treat on this. So the very first thing you're going to notice here is, I'm already sounding different. That's a good thing. That lets you know I am testing a different mic and my EQ is on. And also, I probably sound a little louder if I'm remembering correctly. I already listened to this a little bit on a different one. And remembering correctly, it sounded a little louder. I'll have to look back at this again afterwards, but what also you'll be hearing is a lot of plosives. Plosives are that little P sound that you'll get into the mic. Not a lot of people like hearing it. I don't blame them. There's 2 ways to combat this, really. There's a windscreen, which is generally the foam around a microphone. It looks beautiful on my Shure microphone, and kind of without it, it does look a little different, doesn't it? And there's also a pop filter. Pop filters are generally like a little mesh screen that goes right in front of the microphone, and it just kind of dissipates the blowing of air from your mouth to the mic and kind of spreads it out and makes it not as abrasive to the microphone. I'm having a hard time with words right now. That's not very good for somebody who's a YouTuber now, is it? What also you'll be hearing is a dynamic mic generally just negates any sound coming from everything else. Now, you can't hear my computer, for instance, as well. You can't hear the fridge that's under my desk that has a fan that is loud as can be. That is also a great thing when you don't have all that control in your surroundings. And with the budget of this microphone, I say budget loosely, $100 is not exactly the cheapest, but it is certainly down there for a good microphone. Before that, though, we do need to do something, and it is kind of important. One thing you'll get is these little yokes that are around the There's a little yoke here around the microphone. It's used to stabilize as well as also dissipate any kind of sound that hits the boom arm or the microphone stand. We're just going to take a little listen to that. I'm sorry in advance. With that out of the way, let's move on to the Elgato Wave. And let's start listening to that, because trust me, it's going to be a whole different thing. So just to begin with, I can already tell that this is already a louder mic, but what also you'll notice is it's a little more clear. It's like I'm actually talking to you right next to you. That is like the main thing about a condenser microphone. It makes it sound as though I'm right there with you. So that it doesn't sound like I'm talking like over the phone or say through a YouTube video. It sounds like I'm right there next to you. Now, already the microphone probably sounds pretty good. It could sound a little better with some VSTs. Thankfully, the Wavelink software does allow that now. Totally not gonna stop talking about that, considering that is like 90% of the reason of why I was going with Elgato. I heard it was coming and I got really excited because Elgato doesn't say it unless they actually are going to do it. Before we go on too farther, this is a Type-C USB mic, so I love Type-Cs. That makes everything so much easier. Let's get on to the other test where I tap on the boom arm. This is also a bit of a lighter microphone. So you will need some kind of a weight if your boom arm is made for a bit more heavier microphones like mine. It does also come with a little adapter that is dual threaded, so that you can use two different kinds of mounting mechanisms for boom arms. By the way, so does the Rode Pod mic. Let me just kind of show you what that kind of looks like. You see that, how it's kind of got a dual thread to it? A smaller one on the inside and a larger one on the outside, because some microphone boom arms aren't always the same. However, if you would like, you do also have a stand. I don't like the idea of using a stand on a microphone that you're going to have. If you're going to have a $100 microphone, just get a boom arm. There will also be a video coming out here shortly showing you some budget boom arms and then putting that up against my expensive boom arm. You will want to see that, so do get subscribed. It will be very, very important. So who are these mics for? They're obviously budget mics. I mean, the Rode Pod mic is $100. And while it sounds great, you have to also remember it matters on the interface you're going into. The Elgato Wave is a great interface and also pretty darn budget. Another one would be like the Scarlett Focus. And then after that, you're looking at the Go XLR or the AverMedia Nexus. If you're wanting to if you're wanting to stay with streaming interfaces for XLR mics. After, I'm thinking sometime this month here, there's a company named Beacon. They're going to be releasing a new XLR interface, I believe. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to get my hands on it if I can. I really want to test it out and see how it sounds, and this might be making a comeback for that. Between the two, if I were trying to pick up a brand new microphone right now, honestly, even with my room being how it is, I would choose the Elgato Wave, because with a little bit of love and some time, I could EQ this thing, make it sound amazing, and also I can probably figure out how to make my room significantly better soundproofing wise. It wouldn't take a whole lot of time. It's just something I haven't really had a need for. However, that being said, the Rode PodMic is a great first XLR microphone, and I would 100% recommend this as well. Now, in the end, it's also your choice because it's also your money. So leave a comment down below for what you guys thought was the better mic, or if you think there's a better mic than these two that I should try out. Well, guys, thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget also to tune in again for more videos. I have got plenty of ideas coming out. Hope to see you guys again, and have a good day. He's been de-winged.